Welcome to the Straight Up, No Bullshit, the Don Handston Show. Our hosts are going to push the limits, but create an environment where it's safe to uncover the crap that holds you back so you can survive the mediocrity of today's life. And they'll be admitting and revealing their own experiences so you can learn the skills and attitude you need to be who you are. No bullshit. Warning to all listeners, if you have thin skin and get offended easily by harsh, direct, or somewhat offensive content and language, then this podcast may be overwhelming. However, we believe pulling your blinders off and viewing things from a real perspective may feel invigorating and may be the very thing that may cause you to expand your capabilities exponentially. Now here's your hosts, Don and Markus.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Straight Up, No Bullshit, your show that gets straight to the answers, shares amazing stories. It's all about betterment. It's all about living life on your terms. And we've got an amazing guest today. But before we introduce him, Don, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful today.
Awesome. Fantastic. It's a beautiful day out and sun's shining and every day above ground's a great day. So we have an amazing individual that we're going to have a conversation with today. His name is Nick Sheridan, and Nick has overcome amazing obstacles in his life and is living life on his terms. And I won't steal any of his thunder. So without any further ado, I want to welcome you to the show. Nick, how's it going, my friend?
How you doing, gentlemen?
Awesome.
We're doing great. So, you've been through some, lots of challenges in your life. I know, you're 50 years old. You do concrete restoration in that business, but yet you're doing it, where most people would give up. So tell us your story. What's going on in your life and what has inspired you to get to the point where you're at now?
Well, I said 50, I had bacterial meningitis when I was 23, but,
wow.
I have a passion for racing since I was a kid through my dad. And after I got sick, I just decided, to buy a race car. Just, you live once, I realized. Yeah. I guess you would say I almost died, but, I just decided, I'm buying a race car. I bought a race car at 23, or how old was I? 24, 25, somewhere around there. But I just wanted to do it once just to say I did it. And, here I am. I'm still doing it, kind of, sort of. I haven't raced in 2 years, but trying to get myself back in shape currently. Kind of bloated myself up to 240. I had a goal in January to, I guess when I turned 50, I had a little bit of a breakdown. But I said I got to get myself back in shape and be happy again. And down
right.
40 pounds.
Wonderful.
Down 43, but I think a little beer drinking got me.
So yeah, ebbs and flows.
Gotta live.
Yeah. So my
Exactly.
goal now, I want to use, since I got my goal at 40, I turned 50. So I said, might as well lose 50 pounds. So I'm shooting for 190 now.
Good job. But now to inform our listeners, when you said you had meningitis, you didn't just get sick. You lost both your legs and one of your arms, and you're accomplishing all these things despite all that.
Oh, so yeah, what came along with the meningitis, it was called DIC of the blood. So I did lose both of my legs below knee, my right arm, below elbow,
wow.
And my fingers. I have, what I call sausage fingers, put a toothpick in them and there you go. Lost multiple parts of my body. My nose, it was completely restructured from nothing, from parts of my body.
Wow.
But, so after that and learning how to walk and being independent again, I just decided to get back at it and try to do everything I did before, maybe a little differently, but I sometimes get it done.
So what's inspirational to me about you, Nick, is, I know so many people with the tools, right? The hands, the legs, the arms, all this shit. And all I ever listen to is the reasons why they can't do things. Okay. Now you got a guy like you, right? I mean, your legs are both, they're not even legs, they're cups with shoes on them and a spring. And when I heard you're riding snowmobiles, you're racing sprint cars, you were even rebuilding those motors and the bodies and stuff when you were crashing those cars up. Is that correct?
I don't rebuild the motors, but I change them when I blow them up all the time. So,
and show us your hand again. Show us your hand. With those hands, he's working on cars. Okay. I used to work on cars when I was younger and I gave up on it because it's not easy. I cannot imagine somebody working on a vehicle, picking up a nut, picking up a bolt, tightening a wrench with the tools that you have as a body, you are fucking incredible. And then recently, from what I understand, Nick has lost a bunch of weight, 40 fucking pounds. Okay. That's amazing. That's amazing for anyone.
Yeah,
okay.
it is.
And then he says, I'm going to start riding a bike. I talked to him. He rode like 2 miles. He's like, yeah, I really liked it. Then I rode 10 miles. And then he showed up today and he says, I rode 35 miles yesterday. Is that correct?
34 miles yesterday.
34 fucking miles. And Markus, pre-show, we were talking about it. Markus says, I couldn't ride 34 miles. I said, you couldn't ride 4 miles. Who you shitting? So, Nick, you're fucking amazing.
That's inspirational.
And I really wanted to get you on this show for you to tell your story and let us know what it is that inspires you and what keeps you going. And I'm sure you have struggles, whatever you want to share with us, please share.
I tell the story to everybody. When I got sick, I was 23. My roommate in rehab was 26. I did not enjoy putting on prosthetics or didn't even want to put on prosthetics. Put it that way. I just couldn't fathom my lifestyle change. So one day, I mean, I'm sure I did it every day. I come in my room with my roommate and I'd bitch and moan to him, who also, he was a quadriplegic. He had a halo on. He couldn't walk. He couldn't fend for himself at all. And I would come in my room, I probably did it every day until he finally said, he's like, hey, Nick, he's like, you're going to walk again. You're going to dress. You're going to eat. You're going to do everything you did before, maybe different. He goes, but, Scott said, I'll never do it again. I'll never walk. I'll never dress myself. And at that point on, I was like, I don't have nothing to bitch about. So, as soon as I got out of rehab, started driving, I don't use hand controls because I feel I never called myself handicapped, put it that way. I don't have a placard.
That's huge.
But sometimes I kind of want the placard because I do get sores and sometimes I can't wear my legs or I can't wear my arm for a certain reason. But, I try to just keep it real and not let it affect me as much as possible. But I do go down a couple of those rabbit holes where I dwell on things and I get upset, but I try to pick myself back up.
You have to. Absolutely. I mean, mindset is everything. And the fact that you are choosing not to identify as a handicap, and that you're not even buying into that label. Cause I really believe labels define people. And, like when I went to the chiropractor, this is going a couple years ago. And, we took some x-rays and they're like, yeah, you got some use the A word. I'm like, no.
Arthritis.
I'm not using that word. I have some inflammation. I'll deal with it, but we're not going to label this because when you give label something, you give it power, and that power then controls you versus you having the power. And you've obviously chosen to have the power. So my hat's off to you, my friend. That's amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
I was saying, so yesterday I just, I've been riding a trail that goes everywhere. So I told myself yesterday, just kind of wanted to get I always say, biking is good for the mind. It's good for the soul.
Yeah.
It kind of gives you clarity. So yesterday I try to push myself, give myself goals. And, yesterday I was like, you know what? I got 24 miles. That's my highest. I'm like, I'm going to do 30 tomorrow. That was yesterday. And then there's it's called Stearns Woods near Crystal Lake, and they have some steep ass hills.
Wow.
And, first time I went out there like 2 months ago, I was like, yeah, I ain't going to do them, but that's going to be a goal. But, I tried riding them. I didn't get all the way up most of them, but, I figured doing the 34 miles, my goal was 30, like I said. And I was like, I couldn't ride up those hills. I might as well get a couple extra miles. And so that's what I did. Hurting a little bit today, but it's all good.
Yeah, well, you worked a full day and you showed up and, doing this fucking podcast. So,
That's
hats
awesome.
off to you. And Nick, I want to tell you, this podcast kind of reminds me of a lot of the other podcasts. I don't know if you've seen any of our podcasts, but one of the ones that we did was being the cause or being the effect. Okay.
Yeah.
Being the effect is the outside things that happen to you. You're the result of everything outside of you. And being the cause is being everything causative, everything from inside you, right? And so you are the epitome of cause because most of the people out there are the effect. And that's why so many people got all these problems going on. Okay. And we all have problems, and I'm sure you do. We do. Everyone's got some problems going on. But the thing is that everything, all your strength, all your inspiration, all your ideas, all your thoughts of betterment, which is what this podcast is all about, is what's making you what you are today. And like we talk about a lot of times, if you can get this much better every single day, you're getting better. As soon as you stop getting better, because things either get better or they get worse, nothing stays the same. Okay. It's a slippery slope down. You go downhill and you pick up speed. So my hat's off to you that every day you're trying to get a little bit better. You drove 20 miles, then you drove 25 miles. Now you're 34 miles. And that doesn't even matter, like that you're increasing the mileage. What matters is that you're increasing in some way, shape, or form on a daily basis. You're pushing yourself. You're being the cause of Nick Sheridan. And I think that is huge.
Thank you. It's one thing when you say inspiration. I've been like this for 27 years. And a lot of people say, "Oh, you're inspiration." I'm like, not really. I'm just a dude that got sick and I overcame it. I don't really look at myself as inspiration. Never did. And, family, friends, they say it all the time. I'm like, okay, I got you. But, I'm trying to use that more. I'm trying to embrace a little bit more. But
absolutely. I mean, you deserve it because, it's one of those things where without contrast, sometimes we don't realize how things are. Like you said, like when you shared, your woes with the guy that you were rooming with, and, he's a paraplegic and can't fucking do anything. You're like, that contrast, you're like, holy shit, I need to step up on my game and I feel sorry for myself and go for it. So, but for those people that are, they do have all their hands. They can live life, in a regular format. They look at you and go, wow, if this guy can do this, it should be an inspiration to everyone. What can't I accomplish? It allows you to become anything. It's like, many years ago, I went to a seminar because I had heard this Tony Robbins guy. And so I heard you walk on fire. And I'm like, that's crazy. But I did it. And it wasn't a cool party trick. It was, if you can get yourself to overcome that fear, what can't you get yourself to do? So if you can overcome, you can get yourself to do what you're doing now. What can't you? I mean, you can accomplish anything.
Sky's the limit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't see that myself, but I'm trying to be better with myself on that one.
Hey, we all have that. Most people know me as Mr. Positivity. Yeah. It's just, I've always been an optimist. And yet there are days where I struggle with it too. There's just challenges, there's problems in your mindset. And it's all about the mindset, because I truly believe you live your life twice, first between your ears, then between your hours. And if we don't have this right, or, if we're going on a rabbit hole, we're thinking about focusing on something that maybe is not serving us as much as maybe something else would serve us. And we can go down these roads. However, it's not about how many times you fall down. It's how many times you pick yourself back up.
Right.
And that's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. So another thing that I kind of pushing myself to do this year is, I used to snow ski a lot, and I put that one excuse on. I can't do it because it all always came down to my weight. So right. I tried snow skiing years ago, and I lost my leg both times, and, I went twice, right? That was my passion too, was snow skiing. So I'm going to give that a go again this winter. And then, I told my buddy that I want to try to wake surf.
Love it.
I'm doing it.
Holy shit. Awesome.
I didn't tell you that one, but, I'm taking a course, out in Lake Geneva in a couple of weeks to, do adaptive wake surfing. And then I told a couple of my friends who are wake boats and said, hold me accountable for it. Make me do it. Cause I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
I love it.
So I haven't even swam in 27 years either. So we're going to find that out pretty fast.
Hey, Nick, didn't you tell me you were snowmobiling too?
I do snowmobile as well. That was also a love of mine. It was, I love snowmobiling, and I've had a snowmobile my whole life. And I recently bought a friend of mine, his younger brother, selling his snowmobile. And he cut me a sweet deal, and he asked me every year. He goes, "You want to sell it back?" I go, "Dude, I can't." I always tell his mom, I'm like, "Your son is like an angel." He cut he cut me a deal on this snowmobile, and he didn't have to sell me that cheap when he did. And I love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And my I can't say my younger, I had a really fast snowmobile about 5-10 years ago, and I was a little stupid. I always thought skipping water was the coolest thing ever. So I used to, push my limits with skipping the water on that thing. And if I went under, I'd probably go right with it like a dumbass. But yeah, I'm not doing much of that anymore, but just enjoying snowmobile.
Yeah, so not only does he snowmobile, but he water skips on the snowmobile and uses it like a jet ski. So really he jet skis, but it's on a snowmobile.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's hilarious, dude. You are amazing.
Yeah, last time I went jet skiing too. I went on a wave runner, and my buddy, I don't know how long, I was downriver and went to a buddy's house, and he said, what'd you fall off? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, can you swim? I'm like, I don't know. He goes, well, what if you break down? I'm like, I got a phone. And he's like, can you get back on? I go, I don't know. So I don't really think much, I guess. I just go. And
well, you take action. You're an action taker. You don't dwell on, because when a lot of people, when they think too much, they get analysis paralysis, and they kind of talk themselves out of doing it because they say, oh, there's no way I can do it because they overthought it. But you just, like, I don't know, let's try it and see, and that's awesome. That's very cool.
Well, sometimes, I think if you know, and you just do, you make it happen.
Yeah,
when you think, and then you try and do it, sometimes you're overthinking it. You're overcomplicating it. If you know, just do it. Don't let the thought process get in the way. And it sounds like that's what you're doing, Nick. And, so just to let you know, a lot of people have told you, yeah, you're inspirational and you don't really, maybe you don't see it or whatever. You're just being a guy that, like you say, they got sick and wants to do stuff. But really you should kind of put on that lens and understand that the more you do, right? And the more people see,
right,
the more inspirational
absolutely
you are for other people, whether they tell you or not, because unfortunately, a lot of people are not going to express the fact that you're inspirational to them. They, if somebody all of a sudden, your neighbor never rode a bicycle and he sees you riding a bike and then he goes 4 towns over and he sees you on a freaking bike and says, wow, he could do it. I could do it. He's probably not going to say, Nick, you know what? The reason I'm starting to try to ride a bike is because I seen you ride a bike. It's not going to say that because they're going to say, well, yeah, I'm doing it now. I'm doing it. I can do it.
Right.
And so they don't want to give anybody else credit. A lot of people are like that. Where I'm the opposite. I want people that inspire other people to continue, not only continue doing it, but be aware of the fact that they are actually inspiring others. And I think because that's what this show is supposed to be about, inspiring thought, and helping people be more capable. And that's why I thought that you'd be a perfect guest for today's episode. So thank you for coming out, Nick.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And you're saying, I try to be more positive, like on social media, on Facebook. I'm always a jokester. I try to be a funny man and,
I love
do stupid things, but, I'm trying, as I said earlier, people say, oh, Nick, you're an inspiration. I always pawn it off as like, yeah, okay, wow, I got you. But, like I said, I'm trying to embrace that more and try to be more positive and show my journeys on my social media.
Absolutely.
Maybe, somebody's out there going, oh, I can't ride a bike. It's too hot out. So I try to do all my bike stories. I usually have a stupid story go along with it. Like I lost my seat last week and got a little secret surprise in the back end. But it wasn't that funny. Come on.
It's a funny story. I know it's brutal.
But I try to share all my bike riding stories just to say, if no-legged Nick could do it, anybody could ride a bike.
Absolutely.
And,
so are you doing videos on YouTube and Facebook?
No, I just take pictures, but I'll do a couple of videos of me riding my bike, my legs riding. Just the scenery I see every day, just little tiny clips, but then I'll just put on Facebook a little story of how many miles I rode and, some pictures and stuff like that.
That's awesome. I would encourage you to create a channel, create a YouTube channel, or put some videos on TikTok. I'm telling you, people are out there getting inspired for a hell of a lot less. So for you to share your stories, your journey, whether it's bike riding, whether it's snowmobiling, whether it's how to, learn how to, what was it you're going to do? You're going to do wake surfing. Yeah. I mean, talk about documenting that. That's be awesome. And you know what? Maybe you'll have someone videotape you while you're doing it. Maybe you'll spill a few times, whatever, but then you'll get it and you'll show that accomplishment. And that would be huge for people. I think that's a huge inspiration.
I'm pretty excited about it. See what happens. I just, Alex, I only got really one good arm to pull me up. So
right.
I gotta start lifting weights now, I guess.
Yeah. Can you lock in with that claw?
They told me no, I probably have to take that off.
Oh, okay.
So I can't. I said, I can't lock in with that claw, and then I'm locked in, and then they're going to be pulling me. I'll be like, John Candy and Great Outdoors.
Weekend at Bernie's, yeah. Bouncing off the buoys and shit.
They'd be saying, what is he saying? You think he's saying go faster? And I'm going, no, you faster.
Yeah, he's giving us a thumbs up. You see that? He doesn't have a thumb. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
But the first thing that Nick said when he walks in the house, I go, dude, you look tired. He goes, yeah. He goes, I just got through working and I rode 35 miles yesterday on the bike. And he goes, and not on that bullshit.
Electric.
And I go, oh yeah, electric crap, cause I got electric bike. Since I had a new hip, I put on miles on my electric bike, but right. I pedal. I was telling Nick, I'm still getting the same exercise. I'm just covering more ground.
Right.
But so he comes in, busting my balls. And I think that's awesome. Come in and bust my balls.
Absolutely.
You're right. I got a fucking electric bike and I got 2 legs. What's wrong with you?
You probably wear a helmet too.
Oh yeah. I got to wear a helmet, mouthpiece. Shit, I don't wear a helmet on my motorcycle, I'm not wearing a helmet on a bicycle.
Elbow pads, knee pads.
Okay.
I look at these guys on the trails and they're wearing helmets. I'm like, dude, you're such pussies. I'm sorry.
It's just sorry. Yeah, exactly. Oh my
God.
I
mean, Joe Biden wears a helmet though.
No flake.
When he rides his bicycle.
He's wearing a helmet.
So
that's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us, what advice would you give some individuals who are maybe feeling overwhelmed by adversity or are struggling to find their own path in life? What would you tell them?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not good with advice, to tell you the truth. I was to say, don't give up and just always look forward. And, like I always look back at my roommate. There's always somebody worse off than you are.
Yeah.
And just keep your head up and always just, if you think you can't do it, find a way to do it. There's always a way to do something. I look
right.
at,
I
guess my mom always said, there's a way, there's a will.
Yeah.
And, just don't get yourself down and don't beat yourself up, which I've done many times.
Right. Well, we all have.
Yeah.
We all have. But you're right. Where there's a will, there's a way, and you find a way.
Right. But say just don't keep on dwelling on things. It's easy to dwell on things. Believe me.
Sure.
I've been there, but pick, like you said earlier, pick yourself up and just if it doesn't work the first time, do it again.
Yeah.
Just keep on trying.
Like, it also reminds me of, when somebody says there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? Okay. I mean,
I want to know who came up with that term, because who the hell ever skins a cat? You know what I'm saying?
I would.
I was going to say Chinese restaurants, but I probably should.
Yeah, maybe.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Anyways, unless you get the fur wonton.
Yeah.
I want the furry wonton. But anyways, but more than one way to skin a cat where that's relevant with you is like people think, okay, yeah, to ride a snowmobile, you got to do this. No, that's not what you do. You got your own fucking pattern, how to race a car, how to work on a race car.
Right.
Like, obviously you can't do it the same way everybody else can. So you're figuring out a different way to accomplish the same thing that everybody else is accomplishing. So
right.
It's alternate thinking. And that's what gives you success in life is when you think the same as everybody else, you get the same as everybody else, mediocrity. But when you think that different than everybody else, and a guy in your position has to think different than everybody else in order to get done what it is that you want to get done. So, my hat's off to you, because that's my whole purpose with this podcast is to get people thinking differently, alternate thinking, inspire others, be inspired by people's thoughts. And So number one, you are inspirational. Number two, you are thinking differently than everyone else is thinking, because that's the reason why people can't do things. Okay. They're incapable of simple things even. And so, I mean, I'm sure that there's other things that you struggle with, but you know, we all do. We all have struggles, but as long as we continue thinking differently, we surround ourselves with good people.
Right.
We inspire each other.
So you said you got some goals. So it sounds to me like when you decide to choose to do something, that's what motivates you. That's what kind of continues you on the personal betterment is you're like, hey, I want to learn how to do this. I'm going to try that. I'm going to make that happen. Would that be a correct assessment?
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. You know, I got myself, like I said, I started dwelling on things a lot now over time, and I don't like the whole snow skiing deal. I've been putting it off for another, I think, 5-6 years now. I haven't snow skied. And that was I blamed it on my weight, because now I'm like, I can't do it because I'm too fat. And then now I'm just kind of like, you know what? I got stuck in a hole, put it that way.
Sure.
And I'm trying to I'm climbing up that ladder again. I got to get back up that ladder and start doing things and overcome my I guess, stupidity of falling into that rabbit hole and getting sucked in. But what Don was saying earlier about when I was going to rehab and I was going to all these meetings with the other amputees, they always told me like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do this. You got fake legs. You can't do that. And I was like, what do you mean I can't drive without hand controls? I'm like, you're not in control. And, you know, they told me if I want to go snow skiing again, I have to sit down on a sled. And I was like, well, if I have use of my legs, I'm going to use my legs to snow ski, which I did. Right. And driving a car, I don't use any type of hand controls. I don't use anything. I just drive a car regularly, drive stick shift. And I'm always looking at...
You drive a stick shift?
Yeah.
No shit. Wow.
Drive a stick shift. I was just kind of like...
You're fucking amazing.
When I got out of rehab, I was just like, if I'm going to have 2 legs and some type of arm mechanism, I am going to do everything regular as I can. And I have some adaptions, like with my race car, I have a ball and socket for my hook, and that's how I race. And, maybe I'll try to make that my next goal. There's a lot of fast cars out there now, and a lot of guys that have been racing, obviously, that continue racing, but I quit. And, but maybe it's my next goal. Maybe I should try to win a race again. I just go out there and have fun. I said I was going to go out there and have fun and just be out there. So maybe I should
have fun and win. Yeah. Have fun.
Don buy me a new race car and have
let's do it.
Have a faster motor, which I do have all that stuff in my garage. I just didn't fit my new race car with my prosthetics. So that's why I'm going back to my old one. And that's why I said I'm just going to have fun. And so maybe my next goal, I'm going to try to win a race.
Okay. And when you do that, we want you back on this podcast.
Yeah, definitely. We want you back on. So just to finish this up, what I was going to say earlier was, not only do we need to be around folks that do not invalidate us, but we have to be careful not to allow someone so we invalidate ourselves. So we don't believe that we're capable of doing what it is that we want. Because like you said, people tell you, you can't do this and you can't do that without this or without that. No. That's what they can't do because those are their limitations. Right. Your limitations, they don't know what your limitations are, and your limitations are not the same as theirs. So not only do you have to be careful around people that invalidate you, you have to be careful that people don't invalidate you where you invalidate yourself. Because the minute you tell yourself you can't do it, you can't do it. The minute you tell yourself you can, obviously, Nick, you're proof that you can.
Right.
Without a doubt. Absolutely. The validation is important. I can speak to that directly because, Nick, I almost died a couple of years ago myself. I had a bacterial, that attacked my heart valve and I was bleeding internally with micro ulcers. I didn't know. So I was in the ICU for 28 days, had open heart surgery, had stomach surgery, had all kinds of crazy shit with whatever. And, they wanted me to pump me full of medicine. And now I'm very grateful for the doctors and what they did in the hospital. They saved my life. It was freaking amazing. However, the aftercare was something to be desired for, and I had a drug, what they call a drug explosion, which basically I had 2 drugs that were interacting and I literally gained 30 pounds in a day from my ankles and all the way up to the point where my eyes were almost getting swollen shut, where I went back to the ICU and they got the swelling down and whatnot. And it took about 2-3 weeks to get rid of that swelling. But I realized that at that point that medicine it was, at least for me, my choice, my perspective is that served me when I was in an emergency acute situation. However, moving forward, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get off these medicines because they're not going to help me in the long run. They're only going to my detriment. And so I found a doctor of natural medicine, and within 6 months, I was off all my meds. And the reason I bring this up is that there were a lot of people that told me, "Oh, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You're going to hurt yourself. You could potentially die, whatever." And, knock on wood, a year and a half later, I'm feeling better than I've ever felt. I feel great. Now I still have some endurance and some strength to go, but it just goes to show you that what Don just said is that you can't invalidate, yourself as well. And in the fact that you just choose, you just like, I'm choosing something, I'm going for it. And that's awesome because that's self-validation. And, the people you surround yourself with, people that support you in doing that. So they validate that as well, which is what it's all about. So you're inspirational, my friend. I love that. I'm so glad you came on.
I'm glad you're doing better.
Yeah. Much better. Yes. Thank you.
So thank you for coming out for our show today, Nick.
Thank you for having me.
We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We hope to have you on again. If you're up for it, we want to hear about more that you got going on.
Yeah. I'll let you know on the wake surfing deal. And whenever you get my race car back together, I know personally, I know that's not going to be competitive with the new stuff out there, but maybe I'll get lucky. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I bet you'll do it. I bet you'll do it. Where there's a will, there's a way, like you said. And when you do set up that YouTube channel, or whatever channels you're going to do it on, let me know. We'll put it in the show notes so that everyone can follow you on your exploits out there and doing your adventures and accomplishing what you're accomplishing. That'd be awesome.
All right. If I can figure it out, because I'm not very techie, but I'll let you know.
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks so much for being on the show. And folks, if you liked what you heard here today, please subscribe to our channel, hit the subscribe button and share it with a friend. Our currency is about you telling people, is about betterment. And it's these shows. And the more you tell people and invite them to the show, the greater, the more impact we have and the larger it grows. And that's what it's all about. We want to make a huge impact. So we appreciate you being here. Like, subscribe, and follow us on Facebook, follow us on X, follow us on TikTok and Rumble. We're on all the channels. And until next time, we'll see you on Straight Up No Bullshit. Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in to the Straight Up No Bullshit, the Don Handston Show. We hope we enlightened you and expanded your perspectives with our bold and honest discussions about what might be holding you back from being your genuine self. And with a simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to the next episode. If you want to know more, go to straightupnobullshit.com. We'll see you next time.